Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to Shifting Lanes 2. My name's Chad, and today we are talking about do-it-yourself projects on all of the project cars we've owned. Specifically, which were the hardest to complete. We've owned a ton of different cars, BMWs, Subarus, Hyundais, and of course, a lot of Volvos. Today, Greg, Hansen, myself on our stream. If you're not subscribed to our Shifting Lanes live YouTube channel, there's a link below. We go live every Mondays at 8 p.m. We look forward to seeing you there. However, Greg, Hansen, and I decided we wanted to talk about some of those projects that just left us either deeply frustrated, deeply defeated, all these different types of projects that, well, brought us a lot of, pain and hardship, which you guys seem to love. It's a great video, guys. When you like the video, smash that thumbs up button, consider subscribing, share it with a friend, and make sure you have rung the bell so you get notifications whenever Shifting Lanes 2 releases a new video. But that's enough of me talking. Let's get to the video.
But that kind of brings me to the point, I'm just curious. I don't know if that was it, but the worst DIY automotive experience you've ever had. The Hansens, I mentioned it, go.
All right, so I'm starting.
Surprise!
So it's the S60.
Yeah, it's the S60R.
It doesn't have to be, I remember that day.
It was bad, and these jobs are all routine, and changing brakes, changing brake rotor shoes, basically for the parking brake, very routine, but we have the curse of living in the Northeast, where all of these routine jobs just get more difficult with the presence of rust, and it's not just like surface rust or anything like that, but it's just been rust that's been working through the decades, just like trying to eat metal and seize everything together. So it's like taking off just a couple of bolts, which would normally be like a 5-minute thing. It became like a 2-3 hour thing. And we were the Volvo S60R was like my only car at the time, and this warehouse or this workshop where we worked out of was like 45 minutes away. So it's that kind of made things worse, right? Because I had to drive the car to a place where we're getting it fixed, do the job, and then leave the workshop in where the car is in working condition so I could drive home. So that stress kind of made things a lot worse. But changing once I got the brake pads off, it's fine. The rotors was easy, but then I got to the last one when I was changing out the parking brake. I think it was the right rear. It just the old discs just would not come off, and I just tried hitting that thing with a hammer. I think I put a torch to it, and it was just
a 40-pound sledgehammer,
and I was
yeah,
something like that. It was soul crushing. At the end, I was just I can't do this anymore, and I just buttoned everything back up, put the wheels back on, and I just didn't have
Hansen's
parking
favorite
brake.
substance.
I didn't have a parking brake. Anti-seize? Yeah. In hindsight, I probably put too much of that on right there.
I mean,
Greg's
it's
still
totally fine to repaint your brake, hub with a completely new color with anti-seize. That's a normal thing to do, right?
I mean, it's the amount of rust that we ran into. It's I can guarantee you the next person that will replace those brakes will not have any issues, because I put a generous amount of anti-seize
because they'll
on
slide off while driving.
Yeah.
There's so much anti-seize.
I torqued it all down to spec. Yeah. But yeah, that was my worst. That was the worst DIY. It looks easy on videos.
Well, when you edit
YouTube,
a 2-hour process
why
down
not?
to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's that meme where the cat is has a little cigarette out its mouth and a wrench. It's when you're 20 hours into a 20-minute job. That's what I was feeling that time.
So mine, I think, is had to do on the same car that we're watching. Actually, I forget if it was this car. No, I think it was the magic blue one. That it was a very easy job. Usually, spark plugs and oh god, the part is now escaping me. My brain.
Coil packs.
Coil packs. Spark plugs and coil packs. The super easy job on most cars. I mean, you can kind of just get them at the top of the engine, or there's a really easy access to them somewhere. But the only thing with these cars is there was an OTE pipe, or over the engine pipe, that you just had to remove. Not really that difficult a thing. There was a V-band in the back and what have you. But right near the front of the engine, that pipe was actually secured with I think it's a T25 Torx screw. And the problem was that pipe wouldn't come off without getting that screw out. And that screw was stripped. So I had to go in. This wasn't like the worst thing ever. Like, anyone could have done this. But for me, as a total beginner doing this stuff, like, I had to buy a Dremel, cut a crosshatch pattern, and like, I actually had to I couldn't get it out with just a screwdriver. I actually had to get like a breaker bar, hammer a screwdriver in there, put the breaker bar on the screwdriver, and like create this weird socket screwdriver thing, put it in there, and like get it off with a breaker bar. And finally I did that, and I was just like, yes, because this took me like 3 weekends to do. just to change the stupid spark plugs and coil packs in this car. And I ended up doing that, and it was great. And I felt really really good about doing that job. But man, just one screw, and I think that's like how a lot of like DIY people feel at the beginning when they're just getting into cars, is like one screw can totally ruin your day. A lot like golf does. Like, man, that one shot like totally ruin, even if you're a great golfer, one shot like ruins your day. The one screw in the car, this is like, I can't do this. But everything turned out really nice at the end. But that's probably my worst one was that, just because it was so frustrating for that one tiny little piece that should have been totally fine, and it ruined. It took 3 days to get this thing done.
So for me, I'll do two. So the toughest I ever had was removing the stock exhaust manifold on a 2001 Focus when I was going to put matched headers to it. They're actually clamshell headers, so I could have turboed or left it NA. I was leaving it NA because I had supercharger plans. But you couldn't get to the O2 sensor, like the wrench on the O2 sensor, and when you did, you had like that much movement. You couldn't turn it. And I took it to a shop, and the guy says, "You know how you learn something new every day? Well, today I learned I'm never doing this on any other car ever again." So I was like, well, it's a good thing you have money now. But during the shifting lanes tenure, probably the number one thing was removing the stock airbox. Everyone tells me it was a simple process, should be pretty easy, all that sort of stuff. It was a nightmare.
That was on the C30.
I got all the things, and it has all these like posts, so that they go in, and then you just got to kind of work them out. Well, I was hitting certain things here and there, and then famously, when I was done with it, I yeeted it across the entire shop because I'm like, fuck, forget you, man.
I remember watching that. That was legitimately funny because I knew how.
It was just such a thing, and that was by far and away the toughest thing. Then there was getting the upper intake tube to seat in the silicone joiner right after the turbo on the the intake side of the turbo, and you had to it was one of those things where it wasn't just where it wasn't just you put it in, tighten the clamp down, and move on. You had to literally start with the thing pointing straight up, rotate it, contort, pray to the gods, and then once it was there, quickly tighten it back down. Otherwise, you're starting from scratch, because this pipe, the aftermarket intake pipe, was so much larger than stock that they actually had to put a physical dent in it, so it would clear like AC lines and things of that nature. But like you figure something as simple as a pipe fighting me was just beyond maddening, because at this point it was like I had finally gotten the stock airbox off. I was finally putting the fun stuff back on the car, and this was it was just fighting me the whole way there. A short, just a close second, and Hansen, patting himself on the back with the perfect pour. Nice.
I forgot
this was one
that.
where I think I even called Hansen out in the video. The guys who did so when I bought my Mustang, famously, the rear wheels were on the right side of the car. So it was 275s on the right side of the car and 255s on the left side of the car. Should not. So I went back to, you fucked this up, fix it.
That was the NASCAR spec.
Turn left now. So they swapped it out and didn't think anything of it. A couple months, more than a few months go by, a couple trips to the track, couple, spirited drives and everything, come back, go to get the stock wheels off, and all the bolts are out, and it's just sitting there, just being held on as if by magic. And this will be, even with wheels, always use anti-seize, because it was a pain to just get wheels off. Like, I'm not even talking about diving deep into any other sort of stuff. Just getting the wheels off was such a pain. And it was maddening, because I knew for a fact that this was done at a dealership and they just did it quick to appease me, which anybody who knows me knows that it went from being, these guys suck, to I should probably not talk to them because I'm going to say something I'm going to regret. Like, I was so mad because all I want to do is get the new wheels on. Like, new wheels change your car. They make it look so much different. And I had steamrollers on the back. And I wanted to see what 305s looked on the back of my car, and I couldn't because these stupid idiots didn't use anti-seize, and I'm still bitter about it. Yeah, so.
Jeez.
Yeah, get that anti-seize.
Well, I'm hopeful that eventually we get to the point where we can be doing this again. And we have our own shop. That would be awesome, to actually do fun things in. And that's sort of like why we're doing live streaming and a second channel and the main channel and all this stuff. We're trying to like hopefully get it to a point where we can kind of do project cars like this again for you guys. I think they're really cool. If we could eventually get to that point. However, I'm very much, until we get there, cool with dropping my car off and getting it fixed by an actual professional. Totally fine with that as well. Just makes things so much easier.